Hey, I'm Kelly. If you love cars as much as I do, you're in the right place. From drifting car days to uncovering the world's most iconic rides. Gear up and subscribe to Drive with Kelly for non-stop car fun. Speed, precision, legendary engineering. Japanese motorcycles are known for pushing limits, but some pushed way too far. From violent power bands to frames that flex at high speeds, these machines became infamous, not for what they achieved, but for what they risked. These are the 12 most dangerous Japanese motorcycles ever built. Number 12. Honda CX500 Turbo, the turbocharged wildcard. The early 1980s brought a wave of experimentation in motorcycle engineering, and Honda led that charge with the CX500 Turbo, the first mass-produced turbocharged motorcycle. Bold, innovative, and genuinely dangerous. At its heart was a 498cc V-twin boosted by a turbocharger producing around 82 horsepower. The numbers sound manageable. The delivery was anything but. The turbo lag was significant. Riders would roll on the throttle, feel a moment of nothing, and then, without warning, the power slammed in all at once. That surge could lift the front wheel or unsettle the rear end mid-corner, turning a relaxed ride into a white-knuckle wrestling match. Weighing 572 pounds wet with suspension that struggled under full boost, this bike demanded absolute respect from anyone brave enough to twist the throttle. Number 11. Kawasaki H2 Mach 750, the Widowmaker. When Kawasaki released the H2 Mach 750 in the early 1970s, they did not just launch a motorcycle, they launched a legend soaked in adrenaline and fear. A two-stroke inline triple pumping out 74 horsepower that redefined street performance and terrified an entire generation. The throttle was twitchy. The torque hit like a hammer with zero warning. The front wheel lifted whether you wanted it to or not. The frame had noticeable flex at speed, cornering stability was mediocre at best, and the brakes, a single disc up front and a drum in the rear, simply could not keep up when the bike was barreling past 120 miles per hour. Stories of violent tank slappers and unintended wheelies earned it the nickname the Widowmaker, and for good reason. Number 10. Suzuki TM400 Cyclone, the off-road landmine. Suzuki answered the motocross boom of the early 1970s with a machine that would soon earn one of the worst reputations in dirt bike history. The TM400 Cyclone had a 496cc two-stroke single producing around 40 horsepower. On paper, a winner. In reality, a bone breaker. The power band was notoriously narrow and unpredictable, either crawling or launching, with nothing in between. Weighing just 220 pounds dry, the chassis was wildly unstable. The rear suspension bottomed out easily. The frame flexed under load, and drum brakes on both ends were completely inadequate for a bike capable of highway speeds on loose dirt. The Cyclone did not just have a dangerous reputation, it earned every word of it. Number 9. Suzuki TL1000S, the tank-slapping twin. By the late 1990s, the race to build the ultimate V-twin sport bike was in full swing. Suzuki fired back with the TL1000S 125 horsepower, 1096cc, liquid-cooled and brutally fast, but it came with one catastrophic flaw. Instead of a conventional rear shock, Suzuki fitted a rotary-style damper that overheated and faded under hard riding. The result was rear-end instability and a terrifying tendency to throw riders into violent tank slappers without any warning. Suzuki eventually issued a recall and added a steering damper to later models. But the reputation was already carved in stone. When the TL1000S decided to snap back, it did so with absolutely no mercy. Number 8. Kawasaki H1 Mach 500, the original death machine. In the late 1960s, Kawasaki shocked the world with a machine that would forever be known as both a marvel and a menace. The H1 Mach 500 was a two-stroke triple, delivering 60 horsepower from 498cc, and that power arrived abruptly, violently, with almost no warning before the front wheel lifted or the rear tire broke loose. The suspension was rudimentary. The The swing arm flexed under stress, and both brakes were drums completely inadequate for a motorcycle that could exceed 115 miles per hour. Fast, light, uncontrollable, and unrelenting. The original death machine. It earned that name and wore it proudly. Number 7. Yamaha VMAX, the power cruiser with no rules. Launched in 1985 and remaining in production until 2007, the Yamaha VMAX was never subtle. This was not a bike for corners or fuel economy. It was built to dominate the drag strip and flatten straightaways. A 1,679cc V4 with Yamaha's V-Boost system unleashed 145 horsepower and 90 pound-feet of torque figures, more commonly associated with sport bikes, not muscle-bound cruisers. But the frame and suspension were never designed for high-speed stability. The rear shocks struggled to keep the back end planted under hard throttle. At over 635 pounds wet with a short wheelbase, this thing demanded strength, skill, and full concentration every single time you rolled on the throttle. It was a machine built for the straight line. Anything else was a gamble. Number 6. Suzuki GSX R1000, the Superbikes gamble. In the late 1980s, Suzuki dropped a bomb on the performance world with the GSX R1000, a 1000cc inline-4, pumping out 145 horsepower and 85 pound-feet of torque. Sounds like a dream, but the chassis lacked the torsional rigidity to handle the violent acceleration this engine demanded. Riders reported high-speed instability and headshake on uneven roads and during hard cornering situations where the frame's limitations became terrifyingly obvious. The suspension bottomed out under hard use. The brakes faded under aggressive riding. At 593 pounds wet, the stopping performance fell consistently short of what this machine was capable of reaching. At $7,299, it seemed like a dream ticket to race bike glory. For many, it turned out to be considerably more than they bargained for. Number 5. Yamaha RZ500, the 500cc street racer. Produced between 1984 and 1986, the RZ500 was one of the most aggressive two-stroke motorcycles ever handed to the public. Inspired directly by Yamaha's Grand Prix machines, it blurred the line between road bike and race weapon. A two-stroke liquid-cooled V4 producing 88 horsepower, with an extremely peaky power band tame below the threshold, then wild in an instant. 1 second cruising, the next managing a full wheelie with zero warning. Weighing just over 400 pounds wet, the frame flexed under sudden torque bursts, and the soft suspension made high-speed cornering feel more like a prayer than a maneuver. Top speed around 140 miles per hour on a chassis that was barely holding it together. The RZ500 was less a dream and more a high-revving wake-up call. Number 4. Honda VF750F, the cam killer. In the mid-1980s, Honda introduced the VF750F as a technological marvel, a liquid-cooled V4 delivering 76 horsepower aimed at everyday riders. But under the surface sat a fatal flaw, a poorly designed oil delivery system that starved the camshafts at high engine speeds. The result was premature wear and, in many cases, complete camshaft destruction. Riders started calling it the cam killer. What made it especially dangerous was the unpredictability. A seemingly well-maintained bike could suffer sudden engine seizure mid-corner or during highway acceleration, precisely the moments when mechanical failure becomes life-threatening. The VF750F was not a machine that warned you. It simply failed, and it did so without apology. Number 3. Kawasaki Ninja H2R, the legal limit does not exist. When Kawasaki unveiled the Ninja H2R in 2015, it was not a motorcycle launch. It was a declaration of war on speed itself. A 998cc inline-4 with a centrifugal supercharger producing 310 horsepower and a top speed exceeding 240 miles per hour. 0 to 60 inches under 2.5 seconds. The force is so brutal that any lapse in rider input, any twitch, hesitation, or miscalculation can send everything spiraling instantly. It is not street legal, it is not forgiving. It is not meant for anyone but the most focused and highly trained professionals on Earth. At $55,000, it is not just exclusive. It is excessive, dangerous, and completely unhinged. Number 2. Yamaha FZR 1000, the pre-1000 nightmare. In the late 1980s, the Yamaha FZR 1000 was one of Japan's earliest attempts at a full-liter superbike for public roads. A 998cc inline-4, producing 145 horsepower with blistering acceleration. But the steel delta box frame was too flexible under aggressive cornering, and mid-corner bumps at triple-digit speeds sent the chassis into unsettling wobbles that even experienced riders struggled to correct. The suspension was basic. The brakes were decent but lacked the stopping force a bike capable of 165 miles per hour truly demanded. At $7,499, it was tempting. But unless you are highly skilled and permanently alert, this Yamaha crossed from excitement to chaos faster than most riders ever anticipated. Number 1. Suzuki GSX R750 SRAD, light, fast, and deadly. By the late 1990s, the GSX R750 SRAD was marketed as a race bike for the street, a 748cc inline-4, producing 134 horsepower in a chassis weighing just 465 pounds wet. Near-perfect power-to-weight ratio. Perfect for lap times, not always for survival. The bike reacted instantly to the slightest twitch of the handlebars, nervous, overreactive, and in the words of riders who lived to describe it, genuinely terrifying at speed. Without a steering damper, tank slappers were a constant threat. Violent handlebar oscillations that arrived without warning and left little time to react. At $8,399, it was competitively priced and extremely attractive to young riders. Many of those riders found out the hard way that this machine demanded perfection and punished everything less. These were not just bikes, they were battles between man and machine. Some won, many did not. Now tell me in the comments, which one of these machines do you think was the most dangerous ever built? And if this video just changed how you think about Japanese motorcycle history, get a sneak peek at why millions of riders across the world are choosing an $800 motorcycle that most Americans have never even heard of. And the most jaw-dropping thing about it is that this is the bike outselling every machine on this entire list combined, which is now popped on the upper left of your screen. Subscribe to Drive with Kelly, and I will see you in the next one.